everybody, God bless. So I had this wonderful dream a couple nights ago, and I've decided to write it down and really write down my notes and make sure that I hit every single point, because a lot of times when I explain my dreams, I've noticed that I will just jump, and because I'm so excited of like certain parts of my dream, and a lot of times the most important part to me in my dream is like the end. So I'm like, I just want to hurry up. And it dawned on me that not everybody sees what I see, so I have to really explain the details to you guys. And I'm really sorry for my past dreams and stuff like that. So if you have any questions about anything in the past, just comment it down below and let me know, and I would definitely walk you through it and just explain it more. But so I've decided to have my notes in front of me. I wrote down my dream, wrote down the details. I also have my computer right next to me for anything that I need to look up, and I also have my Bible, obviously, because that's the most important thing we're gonna need. So let me go ahead and get started. So in the beginning of my dream, I was at like I was in the tallest building you could think of, and I looked up online. The tallest building in the world is the Burj Khalifa building. But on here, the most popular I can think of is the World Trade Center, because that's something that I know of. But the Khalifa building is about 2,000 feet. The World Trade Center is 1,000 feet, almost 2,000 feet as well. So think about that. So think about something taller than maybe 3,000 feet. I was that high up, like literally in the clouds of this building if you looked out the window, and I was on the very top floor of this building. And in the building, I had on a very beautiful wedding dress. It was white. Every female in there was tons and tons of people in there, and all of the females were wearing wedding dresses, and all of the males were in tux. And the thing is, so just a little side note, I believe that this was definitely the wedding supper of the Lamb, which I believe will take place in heaven, which it makes sense because I was in the tallest building you can think of, maybe even higher than that. I was in the clouds. Obviously heaven is up there, so that is just more confirmation that this is most likely the wedding supper of the Lamb that I saw. And so then the bride came out. There was a bride, and we called her the bride, like a title. We never said her, so I didn't mean to say we called her, but we called the bride, like that's how you would say it, and by addressing her. So I keep on saying her. So by addressing the bride, see, like when you think of a bride, you think her, but in my dream, it was the bride is the bride. So it was like a title. And okay, so when the bride had came out, I instantly, I had a knowing of what people felt. And I've actually seen that before in tons of different dreams. I think my mom's had dreams of me with this ability to be able to feel what other people feel. And so as soon as the bride had came out, I just felt what people felt. And there were some people in the room who, after feeling what they had felt, instantly they just walked out. And literally like in a blink of an eye, the bride was over on the side, and the bride was over at the side, and the bride was crying. The bride was sitting there, and there was other women who came on the side of her and on the side of the bride, and they comforted the bride. And it's more important for me to say the bride, because the bride's face was blurred out. There wasn't a face that I could explain. So the bride was over there crying and really sad, and I could feel what the bride was feeling. And and I've also seen this in a dream too. I'll know what somebody's feeling, I'll know what somebody's doing, but I'll still ask for some reason. And I think I just asked some more I don't know why I asked, but I still asked anyways. And I had asked somebody what was wrong with the bride, even though I knew what the bride was feeling. And this guy had came up to me dressed in a very nice tux, and he was like, the bride is mad because, well, not mad, the bride was sad because they had walked out. And the bride, and he has said they don't like the bride. That's what he said. He said the bride is sad because they don't like the bride. But I also knew, because I knew what the bride was feeling, because that's what he said to me, but I knew what the bride was feeling. Yes, for a split second, the bride was feeling like, wow, they don't like me. But then, like, instantly a second later, the bride was like, we can't go on like this. Like, there's barely anybody here. Because literally, like, at first there were so many people in there, like, I couldn't count. But then they left, and it was like, if I were to actually count, I probably would have been able to, like, just glance and be like, okay, there's probably like 20 people left. Because that many people just walked out and left. So I do want to say that this bride, real quick, I believe that the bride represents the church. And that is what we're told in Revelations chapter 19, verse 7 through 9. So let me go ahead and go to it. Okay. And in the scripture it says, let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. And I do want to point that out too, that the wife, being the bride, definitely made herself ready. It wasn't like we just sit there and, you know, wait on God to like dress us for ourselves. We have to dress ourselves. Okay, guys, we have to be ready. So that is also very important. Be ready, guys. So, and then to go on with 8, and to her as granted that she could be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints. So having the dresses on and everything like that, and the tux on, and everybody just being dressed up, is definitely the righteousness that we have. And then just to finish it up, verse 9, and he saith unto me, right, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he saith unto me, these are the true sayings of God. So definitely, if you know, hear the trumpets, get raptured up and go to the wedding supper of the Lamb, obviously, you know, this is definitely, you're blessed to go there. But these people left, okay? And I get it. You can be like, well, they left. But Jesus also tells us how people will be cast out. So I do believe that people will leave, and then they will also just be cast out as well. So just because you're raptured, that's not it. You can still be sent right back down. And I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe that my mom posted a dream about that. I don't know if she ever posted it, but I know she told me about it. I don't know if she had the dream or somebody else did, but I will get into actual scripture. All right, so we're going to go to Matthew chapter 8, verse is 11 to 12. And this is when Jesus is telling us that people will be cast out of heaven. He says, and I say unto you that many shall come from the east and the west, and shall sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of the kingdom shall be cast out unto outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So this is definitely proof that, you know, even though you are in heaven, you can still be cast out. So be careful, guys, because it says the kingdom of heaven. Okay, and in my dream, these people left and the wedding hadn't finished yet. So this was during the wedding. Then they just up and left, and it was like, well, the wedding stopped. So yeah, so I just really want to make sure you guys understand, like, just because we get raptured and just because, like, you know, we're in the kingdom of heaven, don't sit there and be like, oh, well, you know, I'm free to do whatever I want. Like, no, like, God is still God. Okay, you know, let's not break this new covenant that is coming, guys. Let's not break it. Okay, so yeah, anyways, so back to the dream. So I went over to the window, and mind you, I'm in like a 3,000 foot building, and I was able to look down and zoom into some of the people that left. And mind you, like, I'm in a 3,000 square building, so that's just definitely proof that I probably have the ability to be able to zoom into the floor, because I was able to really see them, like their features and their dresses and everything like that. Like 3,000 square foot, people don't look like ants up there. They don't look like anything. Okay, you cannot see them. And I have been on very, very top building, so I'm telling you this from experience. You look down from a building that tall, People, you don't see people. You do not see people. You might see a car, the car looks like ants, but the people, you do not see people. So being able to see them tells me I definitely did have the ability to zoom in. So then one of the men in the building, well, before I say that, but I do want to say, when I had looked down and I looked at them, I literally was just like, well, they left. Like, I didn't feel bad for them leaving. I more felt bad for the bride because the bride was really, really hurt and there was barely anybody there. I felt bad for the bride, but I didn't feel bad for the people. And it was just like, well, they left. That's literally how I was, like, they left. But then a man had came up to me and he was like, well, you should go down there and find them and see if you can, bring them back because you are the people pleaser. He called me the people pleaser as a title. So obviously that's a very important thing because if you see my testimony video, you know that I used to be a very huge people pleaser. And that's not a very good thing to say. So, but just to continue, because I will describe like what that meant, throughout the dream. But I was like, yeah, you're right. I am the people pleaser. Like, I'm the people pleaser. I can go down there. I'm good. So I went to the window and it was like, the window was like a portal. And as soon as I walked through the window and like one step was in the building and then another step I was in, like I was on the ground outside of the tower, on the ground now. And as soon as I stepped on the ground, I could feel the evilness in people. Now, looking around, I saw like thousands and thousands of people. At the time, I don't think I noticed it was thousands of people there, but I did know like we were just sitting there like nothing was wrong. And it was just like, you are all evil. Like, I knew they were evil. Okay, like there were some bad people, but I knew these people were evil. And they were just trying to fake niceness. And I think it was more so that they could trick the people who come out the tower, because they knew that there were going to be people who would come out the tower. So they were sitting there waiting on these people to come out the tower and probably trick them. I that really just dropped in my spirit. I didn't even write that in my notes. Like, that makes sense. Like, why would they be right there by the tower? Because the thing is, like, as soon as I stepped down and I saw all those people, and I'm in this beautiful, I'm still in my beautiful dress. And I was like, wow, I'm in a beautiful dress. Like, I would love to be seen. And the lady and the people who came out the tower, they went right. And because I was thinking that way, I turned and went left because I wanted to be seen. And as soon, literally like in a millisecond, like if you were to blink your eyes, my dress was gone. Like, it completely left me. And then it's like it left and then it came back, and it came back so fast I didn't even like realize it was gone, because it came back because I instantly was like, no, I have a mission to do. What is, like, no, absolutely not. And I mean, like, think about it. Like, have you ever like just been minding your business and then like, the devil tries to tell you something, and then you're just like, you rebuke it like right away. So that's how it was pretty much. Like it was me telling myself like, oh, I just want to be seen, but I instantly like rebuked that thought. Like, no, I have a mission I need to do. So at the time I didn't even notice that my dress like came off. So I do want to mention that too. So if you like, you get raptured, then you get sent back down to minister and get the people who left, you're still not out of the woods, okay? Like, we're still not out of the woods. Still got to be righteous for God, because I lost my dress completely. Even though I didn't leave the wedding, and even though I wasn't forced out the wedding or like that, like I was asked to leave the wedding so I can go get the people to come back, okay? I'm still not, salvation is still not sealed, okay? It can still be taken away. So then as I was walking out, as I was still like, I'm on the ground, I'm still walking straight. I already had went left, and I was like, okay, well now I'm just gonna go left and try and like curve and block off the ladies and the people, because what I saw was ladies. I saw the ladies. I didn't see any men at this point. So all I knew was like the ladies were there, so I was going for the ladies, and I knew I could just like curve and block them off and go to them. So that's like, so I was like, I already went left, and they had went right, so I'm just gonna curve them off. So as I'm walking, there was this dude who was there, and he was sitting at a table, because all these thousands of people, they were all sitting down at tables. Some people were like up and walking around the table, but they were like at the table. And there was this guy who was at a table outside, and he's like calling over to me and stuff like that. And when I first recorded this dream, I was like, oh, well, he just liked me. But no, like he lusted, like he straight up lusted after me. I could feel his lust. Ew. I could feel it. And I was like, I'm not the one. So he's asking me like, hey, shouldn't you be up there? Shouldn't you be up there at the wedding? Because he saw my dress, so he knew I was part of the wedding, and he knew where the wedding was. So everybody who was down there, all those thousands of people knew the wedding was up there. They knew that's where the wedding was. And they knew if they saw people with dresses on, that's where they should be. So he was like, well, shouldn't you be up there? And the way he was talking to me was, he was trying to like bring me closer to him. So he was like mumbling in a way and just trying to like, shouldn't you're not up there, like it's okay. Like he's trying to like bring me over to him and talk to him because he's lusting after me. And no, I'm not the one. So he asked me the question. I was very loving and nice to him, but I continued to walk. I'm literally walking as I'm talking to him, and I'm like, I just have to get these people because I'm the people pleaser, and they sent me down here to get them. And he was like, people pleaser? Like he instantly was like, what? Because, on this earth, people pleaser is not a good thing. And I was like, oh man, I didn't mean to say that, because it's like in the wedding, the definition of people pleaser was completely different from the definition of people pleaser on the ground. So I was like, oh no, I didn't mean to say that. I'm actually an instigator. I'm an instigator. And then even then when I said that, he was still like, what? Like that's still not a good thing. And I was like, no, like it just means that I put people together and I calm them down, and I try to just ease the situation. So off the dream real quick, I just want to say when I had told my mom about this, I told her I was an instigator. Now for me, if you've seen my videos in the past, English is not my strong suit, okay? I have said words and I put up different words because I thought that's what the word meant, and it didn't. So to me, instigator, all my life, I always thought instigator just meant the person in the middle who tries to ease the situation. That's how I always thought instigator meant. But when I told my mom, she was like, that's a bad thing. Don't say that. And I was like, well, that's what I said in my dream. And she's like, well, if that's what you said in your dream, we need to figure out what that means, because that's not that's not a good thing to say. So, when I had looked up instigator, it said, I actually do want to tell you guys exactly what it said, because I wrote in my notes like a little piece of what it said, but we're gonna tell you guys exactly what it meant. So let's look it up. Okay, so if you look up instigator meaning, you have to scroll down, because like the definition on it I still don't understand what that means, because it says a person who brings about or instigates something. I still don't understand what that means, and I'm gonna be honest, like I'm not good at English, so I don't know words like that. So if you scroll down a little bit, it says, is instigator a bad word? And the definition says, instigator is usually, in parentheses, but not always, out of the parentheses, a negative word to describe a sinister action intended to provoke or generate a negative outcome. Instigator can also be a positive word when used to describe an attempt to positive change in behavior or policy. And that's what I told him. I was like, I'm an instigator. I'm just here to like, fix it and just, stuff like that. So the thing is, but when I woke up, I was still like, I don't know how to explain people pleaser to people. Because at first I forgot I told him instigator. And then I was like, well, something to unify people. Like that's what I mean, to unify people. So that's what I said when I woke up, trying to like explain how to describe this when I first originally recorded it, because I was like, I couldn't remember that I said instigator. Eventually I remembered I said that, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I can just look that up. But that is important to know that when I woke up, I said unify, because I watched a video that day that confirmed this dream, which I will get into at the end. But back to the dream. when I then explained Instigator, like once I explained it, he was like, oh, okay. He was like, oh, like at ease, because when I said people pleaser at first, he was like, what? Like what? And actually I do want to look up the actual definition of people pleaser. Okay, and when I look up the definition of people pleaser, because to me, people pleaser is just somebody who says yes, yes, yes to literally everything. Even if you tell them to steal something, if it's gonna please them, like that's their goal, is to please you. But if you actually look up the definition of a people pleaser, it says it's typically someone who considers helpful and kind. When you need help with a project or someone to help you study for an exam, they're more willing to step up. So, I mean, yeah, once again, people pleaser, it could be used as something bad. It can also be used as something good. And when you say a people pleaser in a good way, this is something that I don't think I've ever known. Like, anytime somebody tells you they're a people pleaser, it's just like, ooh, you need to stop. Don't be that way. Don't be that way. Don't be that way. That's a bad thing. But if you look up the actual definition, it's actually not that much of a bad thing. So, in my testimony video, when I say I'm a people pleaser, I'm thinking of the bad way, as in I'm like always, even if somebody told me to steal something and they wanted me to. No, that's a bad example because I would never steal. But, you know, hell, I mean, like I was always the yes man. I was always saying yes. So that's what I meant in my testimony video. But now knowing what people pleaser means, this actually is better too, because when I woke up, I was like, I called myself a people pleaser. What? What? So now looking it up, now understanding people pleaser, instigator, all of that, the positive way of this is what I meant. So that actually does make me feel a lot better now, knowing that. So anyway, so then I continued to walk, and I have found a girl who I have actually had a dream about in the past before, and I know her in real life. Her name is Katie. She's a very, very loving girl. I'm actually grateful that I had a dream about her, because that's amazing to know that she could be raptured. But then we have this dream, which wasn't very good. So in my dream, she had long hair. In real life, I have seen her recently at Hobby Lobby. Actually, she had short hair. And so yeah, so it's probably significant that she had long hair. So maybe she gets transformed, she'll get her long hair back, which is good because I loved her hair that way. Just saying. But I did have a dream of her before in the past, and that dream the title is Work for God. And in that dream, I explained how on one side of the table, there were people who weren't as, they weren't very involved, and they weren't really talking and stuff like that. And then there was the other side of the table who were involved and were all talking. And she was in that dream, and she was sitting there with another guy who I went to school with named Luke. And in my dream, I had a knowing that they were a couple. Now, I'll be honest, like I most likely completely forgot this part. I didn't just exclude it. Anything I remember in my dreams, I always try to say it. So I think, you know, God probably made me forget it and then probably brought it back in my mind for this moment, because I saw them over there. It was both of them over there. In my dream, I knew they were a couple. I don't know if they're together in real life, but they were together. And I was looking at them in that dream, and I was just like, they don't belong over here. They should be over there with the people who aren't as, you know, involved, because they're just sitting over here very, very quiet. They should be over there. So I don't know. So I didn't mention that. Maybe because, you know, God probably took the memory from me and told me to like mention it now. But that is what happened in that dream. So maybe it's time for me to reveal it. Maybe she'll be led to watch this video and hear that. So if you do hear this, you got raptured, but you left. So yeah. Anyways, I then, you know, stood by her, and I was asking her like, hey, what's wrong? And when I asked her what was wrong, the peace in me, like, it was radiating. Like, I felt my peace. I knew she could feel my peace, because remember, I knew what people were thinking. I knew how people were feeling, and I knew like her anger in her was like miling down because of my peace. It was radiating that much. And she had been, she was like, she said to me, and I wrote it down, but I don't entirely remember exactly word for word what she said. So forgive me, but this is like basically what she said was like, you don't know. He said, we slept with him yesterday. And she had pointed to this guy who I know and also know in real life. His name was Quentin. And in the dream, when I saw him, his name also flashed up in my face, because I do know multiple different Quentins, and their names are all spelled differently. So I saw the spelling of his name and stuff like that. And anytime you see a word in real life, I mean, in your dreams, that is definitely important. So I looked up his name, and his name, biblically in the Christian belief, it means from the queen. So I don't know what that means. In my dream, but in the Latin belief, it means fifth. So I don't know, but yeah, that's just what it means. Anyways, so then for a split second, and I forgot this, I actually did forget this, and this actually did happen. I'm gonna admit what happened. I for a split second got angry at the situation, and I don't remember if I got mad at him for lying or I got mad at her, because I was like, you really just left the wedding because of this. But I, for a split second, when I got angry like that, that's like literally like a blink of an eye, I lost my dress again. And then I had got it back. But when I had lost it again, that's when I remembered. I was like, oh, this just happened, because I had saw her. And when I saw her wedding garments, everything was completely gone. She was wearing normal clothes. And I looked at her and I was like, how did she lose her stuff like that fast? And so when I had got mad and I had lost my garment like that, that's when I remembered. I was like, oh, so that's probably how she lost it. She probably fell into that anger and didn't rebuke it. Because literally, like, her anger was building. Like, she wanted to scream. She was that mad. She was sitting there just like sulking in anger, and anger was just building on, just mad. And it was just like this little thing made her mad, but it built and built and built. And she was just angry at literally everything. Like, she was mad like a teenage girl hitting puberty or something. I don't know, but just anger. No, it was way worse than that. Let's think of like she was upset. I don't even know how to explain, but like she was mad. But when I came to her, it was kindled. So that's why she wasn't screaming at me, but it was kindled because of my peace. So then as I was talking to her, I started to worry about the other people who left, because I was like, okay, this is going to take me a minute to like ease this. So like, you know, what about everybody else? So I was able to zoom in through buildings and stuff, and I zoom in on the other side and see, I saw, I think it was 4 or 5 women. They were still in their wedding dress. Praise God, they were still in their wedding dress, but their wedding dresses looked worn. Like, it looked torn and just not the best, you know. And they were literally cowered up against each other. And the thing is, like, this scenery, like, you would think everybody was crazy out of their mind, but they looked normal. But I knew they were evil, because I could sense it. I could sense everybody was evil. And I believe that's probably why the women were they were literally cowered up against each other. And that's probably why they were cowered up against each other, because they could probably also sense the evilness in people. And then I looked behind them and I noticed they had walked past a table that had another classmate of mine at the table. And I've also had a dream about her, and she was in, I changed the title to it as part 1, stay away from people who took the mark. And in the very, very beginning of that video I recorded, I mentioned a classmate of mine at a cafeteria with me, and that is a classmate that I saw. Her name is Alexis. So if you guys know her, stay away. Okay, because in my dream I had a knowing she was evil, like, I mean, wicked. And it was like she was the leader of her table, so it was even more wicked, like, because these people are all wicked, and then there was a leader. The leader's normally the most worst. It's normally the worst. Not the most worst, sorry. Anyways, so yeah, and And I looked at the women, I was like, praise God they didn't get like, you know, drawn into her and sat with her, because that would have been way worse, you know. But anyways, then I had zoomed back out and dealt with Katie. Oh, but real quick, so before I zoomed out, I was looking at them and I was like, I can't get to them, but I know somebody else will get to them if I can't get to them. So it wasn't just me that got sent down to help people, but I knew that there were other people out there who were there to help people. So I knew if I couldn't get to them, somebody else would. So then I zoomed back out and I dealt with Katie, and I was just like, okay, so let me show, my goal now was to show her how to ease the problem, how to ease the issue, the situation, because she said this happened yesterday. So I'm guessing it was before we all went to the wedding, and she's upset about something. Like, you're at a wedding and you're sitting here upset about something else, like, And then on top of that, remember I said the people left because they didn't like the bride. But anyway, so I was like, okay, let me show her how we can ease this issue. So I got up, went over to Quentin, and my demeanor towards Quentin was so different, because with Katie, it was like, my goal is to bring you back. So I'm talking to Katie in love, and I'm just like, you're okay, it's okay. But when I got to Quentin, I was very, very authoritative, very serious, and I didn't care who heard our conversation, because I was like, Quentin, come here. Did you tell people yesterday that her and I slept? Well, actually, I don't even think I said her and I. It was like me. I was whatever. I'm trying to ease the situation with her. So it was like, did you tell people that you guys slept together yesterday? And I was talking very authoritative. I didn't whisper. I didn't care if he was embarrassed or not, because he was. I could feel it. He was very embarrassed. And the people behind him, I believe they could hear him, but I didn't care. My situation was with him, and to tell him, like, hey, you need to go and tell those people the truth. You need to tell those people the truth. And like, as I was waking up, I was finishing that conversation, and that's what I was going to tell him. Like, hey, you need to tell people the truth. So I didn't see if Katie calmed down, if she came back, or what happened with the other women, because I ended up waking up out of this dream. So I do want to be honest and say that when I first woke up from the stream, all I can remember was the bad parts. Like, all I remember was calling myself a people pleaser, leaving the wedding, losing my wedding garment, and being upset with some guy named Quentin. So I was just like, what did I just see? Like, this, what? I'm like, this, I don't believe this is a dream from God, because like, there's a lot of stuff going on. Okay. So, then eventually I was like, but I can't, like, it's not going off my spirit. Like, I'm still remembering this dream. Something's going on. So I was like, okay, let me think about this dream. Let me try to remember, because I'm forgetting things. And that's when I remembered, okay, I did not leave the wedding. I was asked to leave to go and get the people to come back. It wasn't like I was asked to leave, like I was being kicked out. It wasn't like I just left because I was worried about the people, because I was like, that is not me. No, if we get enraptured, I'm looking up. Like, I'm not going to look back for nobody. So that's why I was just like, is this okay? Is this a dream from God? I don't know. But that was confirmation, me remembering that part of somebody else telling me, and I was like, oh, okay, because I'm not leaving, okay? And then I was like, okay, but I still call myself a people pleaser. I'm not a people pleaser. So what? Because I was thinking of the bad definition. And that's when I remembered when I explained to the guy and I said instigator. And then I was just like, okay, because then I talked to my mom about it, and she said instigators are bad things. So I was like, okay, hold on. Like, am I something bad? And then looking it up, I was like, okay, we're good. And then I was still like, well, I don't know, because the people pleaser thing, it was still stuck on me. I was like, I'm not a people pleaser. I don't get it. So, then I was sitting there thinking to myself, but I know people pleaser didn't, because now I remember saying a different definition. And I was sitting there going over it, and I was like, what is a people pleaser? And I was like, but in my dream, people pleaser meant, and I was like, I can't think of the word. And then instantly it came out my mouth, unify, to unify people. And that is very important, because as I was thinking about this dream, before I even said unify, I said unify first, I think, and then I went and I just felt led. It was like my arms were moving, and I felt led to get on my phone and look at my subscriptions and see like the recent video that was on there. And that's when I saw Standing in Light Ministries video, and literally in the title she talks about unify, and then I say unify, and I'm like, first of all, I'm not an English person. I would never say unify. Like, that's just something I don't say. So the fact that just like came out my mouth, I was like, unify. That's what I said. And I was like, okay, this just confirmated this entire dream. And that also confirmated for me to go ahead and join in the fast with Standing Light Ministries that she had said to do. So hopefully I will put that in the description box, a link to that video of her telling us to join a fast that we will be doing. But yeah, so I just wanted to go ahead and say that, like, I went on a whole roller coaster ride just figuring out this dream and really making sure that it was a dream from God, really praying about it, which we should definitely do, is pray about our dreams and make sure that there are dreams from the living God, our only one and only God that we have, Jehovah Yahweh, Yahweh Jireh. You know, I just want to make sure we understand we're talking about the same God, because there is a false God out there who is prancing around looking like a false Jesus. The Antichrist has risen. He has risen in the spiritual realm and is really, really duping people. And I praise God that this dream was I do definitely believe that it was a dream from God. So praise God for that. So I just want to say that, guys, God bless you all. Please look out and remember, just because you get raptured, you can still fall. Okay, so be careful, be vigilant. God bless you all. Bye.